From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order banning transgender people from the military. The order refers to trans identity as a mental disorder that is selfish, dishonorable, deceitful, and undisciplined. It gives the Secretary of Defense 60 days to implement its directives and will affect an estimated 8,000 trans soldiers. The order also comes at a time when the military is experiencing a recruitment shortage. The directive follows other recently issued by Trump, gutting the military branch's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, getting rid of military leadership that supported these efforts, and also follows an executive order from his first day in office directing the federal government to recognize only two immutable sexes, male and female. Recently, the armed forces have been afflicted with radical gender ideology to appease activists unconcerned with the requirements of military service like physical and mental health, selflessness, and unit cohesion, the order states. The pursuit of military excellence cannot be diluted to accommodate political agendas or other ideologies. It is the policy of the United States government to establish high standards for troop readiness, lethality, cohesion, honesty, humility, uniformity, and integrity. This policy is inconsistent with the medical, surgical, and mental health constraints on individuals with gender dysphoria. This policy is also inconsistent with shifting pronoun usage or use of pronouns that inaccurately reflect an individual's sex, the order continues. Adoption of a gender inconsistent with an individual's sex conflicts with the soldier's commitment to an honorable, truthful, and disciplined lifestyle, even in one's personal life, the order states. It goes on to say a man's assertion that he is a woman and his requirement that others honor this falsehood is not consistent with the humility and selflessness required of a service member. The order directs the new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, to ban the use of invented and identification-based pronouns in the military, prohibit biological males and females from sleeping, changing, and using bathing facilities intended for the opposite sex, and update all Department of Defense medical standards to ensure they prioritize readiness and lethality. Trans people were first welcomed to serve out in the military in June 2016 when the administration of then President Barack Obama ended the Pentagon's decades-long ban against out trans soldiers. The Obama administration also instructed the Department of Defense to cover the medical costs for trans soldiers' gender-affirming care. Shannon Mintner, a trans attorney for the National Center for Lesbian Rights, told LGBTQ Nation last week that he may challenge the order in court and has been in contact with over 100 potential plaintiffs. Minter called Trump's repeated targeting of transgender service members a stain on our military. Anyone who meets standards should be able to serve, Minter said. There are already thousands of transgender service members currently in the military who have met the standards and more than proven themselves. Currently, the military is experiencing a recruitment shortage. 2 years ago, the Army brought in 45,000 recruits, far less than the 60,000 it needed, and last year it again fell 15,000 short, the Associated Press reported. While the Navy was the only military branch to fall short of its most recent recruitment goals, military leaders expect challenges in meeting its future recruitment goals. And now this news about a federal loan and grant funding freeze. The White House is pausing federal grants and loans starting on Tuesday as President Donald Trump's administration begins an across-the-board ideological review of its spending. The funding freeze could affect trillions of dollars and cause widespread disruption in healthcare research, education programs, and other initiatives. Even grants that have been awarded but not spent are supposed to be halted. The White House is pausing federal grants and loans starting Tuesday as President Donald Trump's administration begins an across-the-board ideological review of its spending, causing confusion and panic among organizations that rely on Washington for their financial lifeline. Administration officials said the decision was necessary to ensure that all funding complies with Trump's executive orders, which are intended to undo progressive steps on transgender rights, environmental justice, and diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI efforts. They also said that federal assistance to individuals would not be affected, including Social Security, Medicare, food stamps, student loans, and scholarships. However, the funding freeze could affect trillions of dollars, at least temporarily, and cause widespread disruption in healthcare research and other initiatives. Court battles are imminent, and Democratic New York Attorney General Letitia James plans to ask a Manhattan federal court to block the Republican president's moves. My office will be taking imminent legal action against the administration's unconstitutional pause on federal funding, she said on social media. The pause was scheduled to take effect at 5 p.m. today, just one day after agencies were informed of the decision. The use of federal resources to advance Marxist equity, transgenderism, and Green New Deal social engineering policies is a waste of taxpayer dollars that does not improve the day-to-day lives of those we serve, wrote Matthew Vaith, the acting director of the Office of Management and Budget. Democrats and independent organizations swiftly criticized the administration, describing its actions as capricious and illegal because Congress had already authorized the money. For more information about the stories we are covering, check out the PEP Radio page on the Pennsylvania Equality Project website, paequality.com. Be sure to download the Live 365 app to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. That's the news at this hour. Now back to more music on PEP Radio.